Hello everybody, my name is Brian Colin. You may know me from things like Grimm, World of Revelo, cartography, RPG pins and patches, general conventions, or who knows, all over the place. Well anyway, today I'm here to talk to you about Plunderlust, where you're playing one player with one single deck of cards. You're also going to need a set of polyhedral dice and some way to keep track of your health and volts. I'm going to use 16mm D6 pip dice, just because they're something I have handy and they're easy to use, but really, in Plunderlust, each player takes on the role of a scrappy plunderer and their crew of gruesome space raiders. You're going to salvage whatever you can from derelict space stations and starships. You want to earn credits so that you can buy gear and ensure that you live longer when facing the monstrous threats that are lurking in this grim, dying universe. So, as we get started, I'm going to show you a little bit. So, the very first deck that we currently have and that we're going to be playing with is the Revenant's Raider deck. We went ahead and printed these just so that we could have proof of concept, share them with people that some people are already playing, share them with some reviewers and so forth. But now that we've got that, let's go ahead and jump into showing you how to play. Now, what I've got here, it's already been shuffled, but I'll shuffle it again. I want you to know that this is completely random. I'm stacking the deck. I don't know what's going to come. So, it could be awesome. It could be terrible. Who knows? I could survive and get all the loot, or I could get killed pretty quickly. Now, the very first thing that you're going to do once you've shuffled your deck is you're going to deal out 7 torments. The torments are essentially the life meter for the universe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I like to put them in the upper left-hand corner. Now, when those are all dwindled down, the universe has ended, and you're dead. You're done for. Then you're going to deal yourself a hand of 7 cards. For the purposes of this game, I'll show them face up. You're going to have your deck here. Let's do them all face up. And I'll go through these cards, and I'll kind of explain them a little bit one at a time to show you what I've got. So the first card I've got is a location. And with locations, you can see that it's got a location icon in the upper left-hand side, the name, the subtype, and then an explore die. That's the die you're going to roll to see how much loot you can find there. And there's also some keywords and abilities depending on the card itself. And we'll get into that as we play. I've got one equipment card in my hand, and different equipment does different things. Like the equipment card I got is a stolen battery, whereas the one on display is a pulse rifle. Now, equipment cards are only used by you. They're not going to be used by any of the crew that you have once you've hired them. I also got a couple of monsters, which I'm going to drop down here. I got charger bots. Now, monsters and mercs and scum are all going to have some similar things. They've got an icon and a cost and names and subtypes and hit points and armor and attack. And we'll get into all that as we play. I did also get one scum right here, the one-eyed plank walker. Now, scum are exciting because they are people that you get to add to your crew. They're going to help you survive because you don't want to go it alone. It's much tougher when you go it alone. Similar thing where you've got the icon and the cost. Some of them have volts, which is kind of like batteries that you can use to do certain things. They have HP and armor and attack. Lastly, I got 2 mercs. Okay. And mercs are very interesting because not only can they be played on your team, like to be part of your crew, but they can also be played as monsters. And that comes in very important, especially in solo mode play. So now that we've done that, we've dealt out our hand. Before you get started, you have a bonus buy phase so that you can play some things. Let's see, I'll go ahead and get my dice out of the way. In the bonus buy phase, you're going to roll 2d6. Whoa! 120. You multiply it by 10. So I got 12, so I've got 120 creds that I can spend. Now, knowing that this happened, I'm going to try and maximize my spend pool. I know that I want to get this guy on my crew. He's 60 credits. I also know that I want to get these mercs on my crew as well. The reason I want to get them on my crew is that if I do not get them on my crew, they can be used as monsters against me. And who wants that, right? So 60, 30 is 90, 110, and I've even got a stolen battery. So that's 10 credits. So there, I just blew through my entire 120 credit spend. Now, normally you don't roll that high. I just got lucky this time. For some reason, when I did a tester video yesterday, I rolled 3 natural 20s. If you were to play with me in real life, that would never, ever happen. But somehow on camera, it's working out great. So now that we have that underway, let me jump into our banners. First off, let's go ahead and have this. Let's go ahead and get this going. The coming soon to Kickstarter, just so you all know about that, in case you haven't seen that yet. And then, then we're going to go in order of how these go. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to draw up to fill my hand to 7 cards. So that's going to need 4 more cards. I've got another location. I've got another scum. I've got a favor, which we'll get into that soon. 2, 4, 5, 6, and then I've got another location. So after you drop to your hand, you are then going to roll for torments. Rolling for torments, you roll based on the total number that you have in your hand. So, the total number of torments that you have in your deck. And right now, because I have 7, that means I'm going to roll a much higher die to see if a torment occurs. Sorry, I'm going to the rules real quick, which are currently, you can go to plunderlusttcg.com, and that will scroll down the page a little bit, and there will be a link to the rules. Just because I can't remember on the torments what die I roll when there are 7. Oh, I roll a d20. That should have been easy. So you roll a d20. If you get a 1, you lose a torment. And you're going to, I rolled a 2. It's pretty close. So you're going to do that after each draw phase as you play. Once you do that, we're going to go into the explore phase. And the explore phase is where you actually go to a location and you get to see if you find anything. So I've got a D8, a D8, a D4. I'm going to go ahead and go to the D8. Now this one says ignores damage from 1 enemy monster discarded during the explore turn. We'll get into that once we have something like that to do. But so since it's got a D8, I'm going to find my D8 that's somewhere in my stack of Metsy dice. I'm going to roll that. I got a 2, so then I'm going to add 10 to that. Or I'm going to multiply it by 10, which means I have 20 that I can spend on monsters against myself. I do have a charger bot, which costs 20 creds. I will play them. And then I know that I'm going to have 20 credits that I can spend in my bank, because that's what I rolled on the explore phase. And we're going to go, we did the lurk phase by playing the monsters. Now we go into the fight phase, where I'm going to attack the charger bot. They don't have any armor, as you can see with the armor symbol and a slash there. So I'm going to have the one-eyed plank walker try to attack. To attack an enemy monster, you roll a d20, and if you get a 12 or higher, you succeed. As you see, I only got a 9, and because I only got a 9, I missed. When they miss fighting an enemy, the enemy does their damage back to them. So they're going to do a d6 against the one-eyed plank walker, who also has no armor. They did 4 damage. If you look at the one-eyed plank walker, they have 10 HP. So I'm going to drop them down to 6. I'm using these little pip dice to just keep track of that. Then, so the scrap bot has a battery. They only have 2 charges on them. To use them, you have to spend a charge when you attack. So I'm going to go ahead and spend a charge, and I'm going to have them try to attack the charger bot. And I got a 2. Like I said, usually I roll and I don't roll hot. So I'm going to roll a d6 for the charger bot attacking back. They did 1 damage. The scrap bot has d4 armor, so I'm going to roll a d4. They soaked 3 of that damage, so they didn't actually take any damage. Now I'm going to use the flexible loyalist, And one thing that I missed, they have a keyword here that is every faction crew. And I also have One-Eyed Plankwalker that's part of the Revenant's crew. When you have two members of the same crew, they get a +1 to attack. I still would have missed with One-Eyed Plankwalker, but I will factor that in when rolling the Flexible Loyalist to attack. So now all I need is an 11 or higher to fight. And I got a 9. So again, I missed. I'm going to roll a d6. The Charger Bot did 5 damage to the Flexible Loyalist, meaning those 3 HP, he goes into my crypt. One thing I didn't do when I put out the Stolen Battery, it has d6 charges. I didn't roll a d6 to see how many charges it had. It had 3. I'm just going to put that there so I know how many charges that currently has. Now, he did just do 5 damage, the Charger Bot did. I can use Call of the Void. One monster suffers damage equal to its own attack. This damage ignores armor. So that 5 destroyed the Charger Bot because they only had 4 HP. And then I also get the credits that it's worth for there. So I get to bump my cred stack up 2, so I now have 40 credits. After the fight phase, you move into the buy phase. So I have 40 that I can spend. I don't have anything. I have a card that's worth 80. I have a monster, which I'm not going to spend that to put that out against myself. And then I have location cards. Now, I can choose to discard anything that I want, except for monsters. When playing solo, you cannot discard monsters. That being said, I don't want to discard anything, so we're going to go back up to the draw phase. Having 4 cards, I'm going to add 3 more. I've got another Favor. I've got a Merc, like it would have been good to have the Merc, where I could buy it and put them into my crew before they can become a villain, monster. 3, 4, 5, 6. And the 7th one, I got another monster. I got a Smash Bot. So now I'm going to roll for torments. Because no torments have occurred, I roll a d20. I did not get a 1, so no extra torments. Then we're going to move into the explore phase. If there were monsters that were still in action and I were going to a different location, they would get a free attack on me. But since we defeated that one, we are going to go ahead, and I've got 4 creds now. I'm going to go ahead and go to the electro coils. It's got a special keyword, electro coils. After I explore, I get to add 2 volts to 1 scummer equipment. So I'm going to go ahead and roll d4, since the location is a d4, since we went there. So there's 2. I rolled a 2, but then you also add the previous location as it count. Each additional location counts as 1. So that's 30 credits in scum or in monsters that I can add to the playing field. So, which is in the lurk phase. So for those 30, I'm going to go ahead and put the Charger Bot in play. I don't have anything worth 30. I only have 2 20s and an 80. So I'm going to put the Charger Bot in. And, oh, I totally missed last time that they have placed 2 volts on 1 scummer equipment. If you defeat them, you get to loot them. So I'm going to go ahead and put 2 onto this guy. Let's make sure that they can last a little bit longer. So now that the lurk phase is over, I put that monster out. It's going to move on to the fight phase. And I'm going to go ahead and try with One-Eyed Plankwalker again against the Charger Bot. 7, and I missed again. They do d6 damage. They did 4, dropping him down to 2. Now, you don't have to attack with every single scum that you have out. You don't have to attack with yourself, but as long as there are monsters, at least one thing has to attack them if you have enough people. Okay, so the Scrap Bot did hit with a 16, doing a d6 of damage. Big money, big money. I did 5. This drops it down because I used a volt to use them. They only had 4 HP. I get to loot for 2 additional volts, so I'm going to go ahead and bump that back up to the Scrap Bot. The fight phase is now over, and we move into the spend phase. I have 30 creds that I can spend, plus I had 40 in reserve, so I'm going to spend 20 of those 30 on this Flexible Loyalist just to make sure that they don't end up being a monster against me. And I don't have enough for anything else. So that takes me out of the fight phase. It takes me into discard, but there isn't really anything that I want to discard. So that brings us back up to the draw phase, bringing it up to 7 cards. 1, another Rise, 2, a Murder Bot, and a 3. We've got a Salty Dog, which is a Scum. Again, now we're going to move into the roll for torments. As long as I don't get a 1, no torments will occur. I got an 11. We're going to go into the explore phase. I only have 1 card currently in my inventory for exploring. I'm going to go to, I'm going to roll a d8 because I'm going to the void. And I could ignore damage from 1 monster that was lurking, but I can't. So 5, 6, 7. That's 70 creds that I can spend on monsters or threats against me. 70, 70, 70. So I've got 2 that are 40 and 1 that's 80. So I'm going to play a 40, and I'm going to go ahead and play the Murder Bot. The reason I'm going to play the Murder Bot is they have ambush. They automatically deal D4 damage to someone. It doesn't ignore armor, so I'm going to have them attack the Scrap Bot because they also have D4 in armor. So I'm going to roll a D4 for the damage. They did 2 damage, and I rolled a 1, so they took 1 damage, dropping their 4 down to a 3. Oh, forgot to move on to we went through the lurk phase. We're in the fight phase. Okay. Oh, no, that was the lurk phase, actually, because they got that free attack. Now we're going to move into the fight phase. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to have the Flexible Loyalist attack. Actually, no. They have armor. I'm going to try One-Eyed Plankwalker has a keyword that's Evil Eye, which is a power. Powers work very similarly to attacks. You roll a d20. If you get a 12 or higher, it works. Their power is 1 enemy monster is automatically hit by attacks this turn as it's momentarily blinded. So if I can get a 12, I don't have to roll to hit. And I got a 12 on the nose. So I don't have to roll to hit. I just get to roll damage. I'm going to roll the d4 for the Flexible Loyalist. Now, the Murder Bot does have D2 armor, so I'm going to roll the D6 odd even for what they soak. So I did 1 damage. They soaked 2, so nothing happened from the Flexible Loyalist. One-Eyed Plankwalker is going to attack. They have a D4. I did 4 minus 1, so they took 3 damage, dropping them to 2. So far, I'm doing really well in this game. The Scrap Bot is going to do their D6, and I'll use the D4 as the odd even for the armor. I did 6 damage, minus 2 is 4, so they are destroyed. And then I also get an additional 40 credits because the Murder Bot was worth 40. So that's going to jump me up to 9 over here. 6 plus 3. And then the fight phase is over. We're moving into the buy phase. So I have 90, plus I have the 50, 60, 70 over here. So I have 160 that I could spend. So I'm going to spend 80 on Starsvane Sven. That's going to go ahead and drop. So 80, I'll go ahead and get rid of this 6, and I'll drop this down to 10. And then I have 7. I still have 80 left. I haven't got a lot of equipment dealt out to me, but that's okay because I'm building up a crazy crew of people. I'm going to go ahead and add the Salty Dog to my crew, and that will then drop. That was 40 creds. So that would leave me with 30 left on top of my 10. So there I am with 40 creds still. I'm doing incredibly well. This doesn't usually happen when I play solo mode, but that's okay. Usually I get a lot more handed to me. I could discard. I'm going to discard one of the Rise cards. I've got 2 of them. With that, you can put an Undead Scum or monster from your crypt into play with 1 hit point remaining. I've got a pretty good crew right now. I'm feeling confident that if I got rid of one of those, I may have better luck getting either the boss monster, which I'd be happy to take now, because the way that you can win is defeating the boss monster in a solo mode game. So I'm hoping that maybe that'll come along, or maybe some good equipment. So we did the discard. Now we're going to go up to the draw phase. I got a location. I've got another location. I've got a Murder Bot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got a helmet, which is a piece of gear. and I got a Synthrope Garrote, which is another piece of equipment. Now, as I had mentioned, the equipment is something that you personally would take, not any of your scum. I haven't actually had to attack with myself yet because all of my scum have been doing the dirty work for me. So now we're going to roll for torments, and I got a 17, so no torments occur. Now I'm going to explore. I'm gonna go for a big one, so let's go ahead and get some more monsters out here. I'm going to do the D12, and I got a 6, 7, 8, 9. So I can put out 90 worth of baddies. We've got the Smash Bot, which is worth 80, so we'll put them out. Which is, we did the Explore phase, we just did the Lurk phase, and now we're going to go into the Fight phase. Now, one thing that they have, their keyword is Smash, which means they ignore armor. So if I'm wearing armor, if any of these guys are wearing armor, they can just take it. So first, I'm going to go with might as well go with the Salty Dog. I'm just going to go kind of, actually, no. I'm going to try and do the power with One-Eyed Plankwalker. If you use that power and you're able to do it, it makes it so easy to destroy the enemies. And look at that with the 18. I did it. So I don't even have to roll to attack. I can just roll damage, which is crazy. So I've got a D6. They've got D4 armor. I did nothing. I have D4 attack, D4 armor, 3 damage, 4 soak, nothing. D4 attack, 2 damage, 4 soak, no damage. Okay, let's see. So now, do I want to use one of their... I do want to use one of their charges. Let's do it. Sometimes you have to think critically as to whether or not you want to use them or save their battery, especially if the monster's already been attacked. I did 3 damage. They soaked 3. So far, I'm not doing anything. Now I'm going to do Starsvane Sven. So I did 6 minus 3, and he has Electro Cutlass. Spend 1 volt after hitting with an attack to deal 1 damage, ignoring armor, to each enemy monster. So I'm going to go ahead and spend a volt. So it would really be 7 minus 3. They took 4 damage, which drops them down to 5. Now, I'm going to attack since I don't actually have to roll to hit. I know I'm going to hit them, so I do D2 damage because I'm just using my fist because I don't actually have any weapons in my inventory. I'm going to roll the D6 as odd even, and I'm rolling the D4 for their soak. I did 2, they soaked 4, nothing happened. So now we're going to move back into the buy phase. I've got 6, 7, 8, I've got 90 plus 4, so I have 130 that I can spend. I only have 50 currently, so I'm going to go ahead and let's make some room. So normally you have your hand in your hand and it's not visible, so I tend to keep equipment down here, but that's okay. So 50, if I'm spending 50, 30 and 20 is 50, then I'm going to drop this down. I get to add 40 to my overall resource pool. So yes, you get to bank credits. You don't have to spend them all at once. So, oh, that was the buy phase. Discard. You know what? I'm just going to... No, I won't discard anything. Let's see. So now we're going to go into the draw phase. I need 4 more cards. I've got another scrap bot. I've got another battery. I've got another location. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One more. And then I've got Feral Francois, which is another scum. I'll just put him here, knowing that he's on top of the Merc. So now we're going to go to roll for torments. I'm surprised I have had no torments occur so far. Still at 18. Okay, so now is where it will be interesting, right? So I'm going to go here to the power station. It's a D4. I'm going to roll that because we're moving the explore phase 3. We'll play out monsters in a second. When you leave and go to a different location and you've got monsters, they're going to get a free attack on you. Now, the boss monster will follow you location to location because that's how they do. If you don't have any cards in your hand to play and you have monsters, you've got to stay and fight. Okay, so Smashbot, who do I want them to do damage to? They do D8 damage. I want to look for somebody that's got armor. I'm going to have them attack the salty dog. So they are going to get the free damage. Going to do the D8. They did 8. Let's see if even if I soak D2, they're still going to be gone. So they go into the crypt. Smashbot goes into the crypt. I don't get the credits for them because I didn't actually defeat them. And now we're moving into the lurk phase. I said 30, 40, 50, 60. There's 70 credits that can be spent against me as playing out the monsters. We've got the murder bot, which is 40. We've got this merc, which is 30, because mercs can be played as monsters or on your own crew. And the murder bot has an ambush. So they're going to go ahead and do D4 damage. And who do I want that to go to? Let's slide this equipment this way. Let's get things a little cleaned up a little bit. So I'm going to have them do it to the scrap bot. So they do D4 damage. The scrap bot has D4 armor. So we'll see if I'm able to soak any of that. I'm going to put this 3 here so I remember how many creds. 3 damage, 2 soaked. So they take 1 damage, dropping them down to 2. So that's the ambush. Oh, sorry. And now we move into the fight phase since that was the ambush. Okay. So both of these guys have armor. I'm going to, let's see. The murder bot has the most hit points. So I'm going to go ahead and try the power again with the one-eyed plank walker. And again, I succeeded with a 15. So he's automatically hit this round. So I'm going to roll D4 damage with the... Actually, no. Before I do that, I'm personally going to attack against the murder bot. I'm going to use strangulation, which... No, I will attack the scrap bot. They have D4 armor. Strangulation ignores armor. So I'm just going to do D4 damage to them. I did 1. So that drops them down to 3. But, you know, it's something. Now I will go in with Starswain Sven, and they are going to roll. They will attack the scrap bot. They do D6 damage. Minus the D4. I did 4 minus 2. That's 2. But I'm going to spend a volt to do 1 damage, ignoring armor to each enemy monster, which will destroy this one in total. That'll put the murder bot at 4. That means I get to add these 30 creds to my revenue. And then Starswain Sven is attacked. So now the scrap bot is going to attack. They do D6 damage minus their D2 armor. Odd even for that. So they did 3 damage. Minus 1 is 2, putting them at 2. I spent a volt to do that. They're going to attack with their D4 damage. 1 damage minus 2 damage didn't do anything. Now the flexible loyalist is going to attack. They did 3 damage minus 2. They did 1. That drops the murder bot to 1. And then the fight phase is over. So I'm going to go into the buy phase. I have 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. Wow, I've got a lot of cash. I've got 180. So minus 180. And I'm going to put this in here, and I'm going to roll a d6. So I'm just going to jump this up to 4 because it will just save space. I said 180 minus 50, so that's 130, so 12. So I still have a lot of cash banked up. I'm not going to discard. Well, I'll go ahead and discard this rise. That brings me down to 1 card. We're going to draw. Come on, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Where are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7? Where in the heck are the boss monsters? I need a boss monster so I can win. So anyway, so now we did that. We're going to roll for torments. We got a 2. No torment has occurred. And then let's see. So now I'm going to play. Oh, this one also. After exploring, place 2 vaults on 1 scum or enemy equipment. Because we just explored that. Or did I do that last time? We'll leave it off because I can't remember. We'll go ahead and I'm just going to do the same location. So here's the thing. I have no monsters that I can play. So I'm just going to explore. I'm going to get 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 on top of this. So that's going to be, this adds 50. Then we're going to add 30. So, I mean, I have a crazy setup right now. I've never had it blown out like this. So let's go ahead and spend 100 on the captain. The captain does some awesome stuff by giving bonus damage to everybody. Like, this is by far the biggest crew I've ever had. Oops, I don't. Was that? Let's do that at 4. I can't remember. So that was 100. So that's add 2 to this. Let's go and add this piece of equipment in, which is another 50. Oh, shoot, I did have a flexible loyalist in. Okay, let's rewind that a little bit. And we went to a different location. I totally just botched that up. So we know that he's going to be in, but he's not in this round. We know that this is going to be in, but he's not in this round. When I left to go to a different location, the murder bot attacked. They are going to do D4 damage to Feral Francois. They did 4 damage. That drops him down to 2. So that was a mess up on my part. So we just rewound it just a little bit. They go into the crypt. And I did have a flexible loyalist come in because he was a merc. He cost 20. So now it's the fight phase. And we're going to pretend like these haven't been bought yet because, they haven't been bought. I'm going to try to attack with strangulation. I need to get a 12 or higher to hit. I missed. So because I missed, he's going to do D4 damage to me. He did 4. Because it's more than what my armor is, which is -1, I lose a torment. So I'm down a torment. Now I'm going to have Starsvane Sven attack. Ooh, I got a 3. I missed. So he does D4 against Starsvane. So that puts him down to 13 HP. He's one of the more powerful of the crew. As you can see, I'm using a fair number of these little pips. I'm going to go ahead and try. I didn't think about it, but I'm going to try and use the One-Eyed Plankwalker's power. I got a 16, which means now they automatically hit moving forward. I'll go ahead and use the Plankwalker's D4. He did 1 damage, dropping the flexible loyalist down to 2. Then I'm going to have this flexible loyalist attack for D4, dropping him down to 1. Then I'm going to have Feral Francois attack. He did 2, which gets rid of the flexible loyalist, adding 2 credits to my loot. Okay, now we're going, and that was the fight, and then the buy phase. So now we're going to jump back into the buy phase. We're going to pretend like I bought this and I bought this because that's what I did just a few seconds ago. And I still have 80 creds that I can spend. So shoot, I might as well put Grizzler into play. And that will drop me down to 30 credits. And then I get to draw up. And holy smokes, I really hope that the boss monster comes this time. I need 5 cards. 1 location. 2 location. 3 charge bot. 4 miserable Margot. 5 location. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Are both of the boss monsters in the stack? I don't know. Okay, so now we're going up to the roll for torments. Now we move on to a D12 because there are 6 torments remaining. And I got a 10, which means no torment occurs. The explore phase, we will go to, I guess here, D8. All scum and monsters deal +1 damage this turn. Let's see. Here's my D8. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 90. We get the Charger Bot out. I'm just going to go ahead and add 90 to my pool of monies. Now it's the fight phase. I'm going to go ahead. I will try to attack using strangulation. Well, they don't use armor, so never mind. I will have Captain Sully attack. And he hit with a 18. He does D6 damage. Plus, because he's the captain, because we have multiple crew out, I also got a 19 to hit. He does +1 damage. He did 4 +1, so he has gone ahead and destroyed him. And you get 2 volts from looting that one. I'm going to go ahead and put that on Captain Sully because he has an electro whip. That means the fight phase is over. We went through the lurk. We went through the fight. Now we're into the buy. I guess I'll buy Margot because I've got her. And then we're going to go to the draw. I'm going to discard. I'm going to discard 2 of these because I've got plenty. Let's see. So discard. So here we go. Here's a boss monster coming out. Then we've got Trash Mouth Terry. We're up to 4 cards. We've got a Scrapbot 5. 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2. And we've got another location. All right. I'm pretty sure we're going to win real soon. Let's see what happens. So we drew cards. We're going to roll for torments. Going to roll a D12. Oh, I got a 1. A torment has occurred. We're down to 5 torments. Maybe I spoke too soon. Okay. So, we are going to go and let's go ahead. Let's roll high. Let's go for the D12. Let's get this baddie out, shall we? I got rolled way off the table. I got a 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 160 credits that can be spent. So I'm just going to go ahead and add 120 plus 4 would be 160. That'll put this up. 160 credits that can be spent. The big bad is 120. Plus, we've got this Scrapbot that puts it up to 150. You got to play as many credits as you can against yourself. One thing that the Warbot has is they have an ambush attack. It's an EM pulse. Enemy scum equipment loses 2 volts. So these 2 volts are gone. These 2 volts are down to 2 volts. These 2 volts are gone. So there we have it. Our voltage is out. That was the explore phase, the lurk phase. Now we're moving into the fight phase. Okay, this is super important. I'm going to try to blind the Warbot. If I blind them, I don't have to roll to hit them, which would be fantastic. Natural 20. So it doesn't really do anything extra when doing a power, but it does if you were rolling damage, it would do double damage. But they are now blind. They do not, no one has to roll to hit them, which is awesome. They still have their armor, but that is a-okay. So I'm going to, I'll go first since I don't have to roll to hit. I'll roll for myself. I'm going to do D4 damage against them with the strangulation. That's 3, but they soaked D6. They soaked 1, so they're down to 15. I'm going to use green for them because, 12 showed a little different. Now, someone does have to attack that Scrapbot. They cannot go unattacked. So I'm going to use the Flexible Loyalist to attack the Scrapbot. I'm going to go a D20. I hit with the 18. I'm going to roll a D4. And they do have the faction, every faction crew, so they are on my crew, which means they get a +1 to damage. They did 5 total because I rolled a 4, minus their armor, -1. They are destroyed, which means I get another 30 credits. It's not like I need it, but I will put it in the bank just to show what it is. So he's gone. I've gone. Now let's go down the line and see what happens. Fail Francois, they're bloodied, their tag. So if they they get +2 to attack and +2 to damage while they're damaged, and they are indeed damaged. So I don't have to roll to attack since they're blinded, but I get to roll +2 damage on my d6. He soaks d6, so I did 5 + 2 is 7, -3 is 4 damage. They have gone. One-Eyed is going to roll to attack with damage. Their d4 is 1. They soaked it. The Scrapbot has no power, no battery. I'm going to save my 2 batteries for something else. Starsbane Sven is going to attack. He's going to do 6 damage, -1, but he also gets a +1 for being in the crew. So he did a total of 6, but he can spend a volt to do an additional damage. So he did 7 damage. That drops this guy down to 4. Oh, shoot. I forgot I got these guys under here, too. I think we're going to win this round. He's going to roll for d6 damage. He did 4 + 1 is 5. -6, he did no damage. Miserable Margot. She gets +1 for each torment I've suffered. I've suffered 2. So she's going to do d4, which is 1, 2, 3. Plus the +1 for being part of the crew, 4 minus the 5 he soaks, so no damage. And then Grizzly is going to do damage of d6. He did 3 -2, so he did plus the 1, so he did 2 total damage. That takes us to the end of the fight phase. Now, because he didn't actually, the Warbot didn't actually get hit that turn, that meant that he could do no damage to us, which is fantastic. So for the buy phase, wow. I mean, I only have one thing that I can do, and I'll get Trash Mouth. And I will go ahead and do that. And that is, oh, that was, how much was he? He was only 20 credits, so not a big deal. And then we are going to move into the draw phase. 1, 2, lots of equipment. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And another Warbot and a Murderbot. Holy crap. Okay. So, I can, as long as I have a location in my hand, I can go, oh, hang on, roll for torments. We are down 2, so we're rolling a d10. D10, where are you? Do not get a 1. Okay. Now I can go to another location. If I do, he's going to follow me and he's going to get a free attack. So, but I'm going to do that. I'm going to move we're going to do a d6. Volatile equipment, all scum and monsters deal +1 damage. Let's see. Well, no, shoot. Instead of that, let's go here. We'll go to the cargo bay. It's a d10. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 that can be played out. Much better than 120, but he's going to get a free attack. And once per turn after damaging an enemy, roll damage against another enemy. I'm going to have him do the Flexible Loyalist. He's going to do d8 damage. He did 5. Flexible Loyalist is gone. They are now in the crypt. Let's get some of these back up. Then I'm going to have him attack the Scrapbot. He does d8 minus d4. He did 2 damage. -1 is 1, and they are still barely hanging on. Okay, so that was because they got their attack from the Explore phase. Now in the Lurk phase, we're going to put out a Murderbot because that's all that I can afford with that. Now we're going to go into the fight phase. Oh, Murderbot gets an ambush, so we're still in the Lurk phase. Who are they going to attack? I'm going to have them attack Miserable Margot for d4 minus their d4 armor, 2 damage, -1. So Margot took 1 point of damage. And then here we are in the fight phase. All we need to do is 2 damage to the Warbot so that they will then be destroyed, and I will win the game. So I'm going to try with the Plankwalker to do their power. and I got a 1. I fumbled. Normally, with fumbling with attack, you lose your scum or your equipment. I don't believe that happens with powers. So we will leave. Well, yeah, we'll leave that in for now. And then I will consult with Duncan about that. Now I'm going to personally attack. I'm going to try to attack. Strangulation ignores armor. I got a natural 20, which means I do double damage. I ignore armor. I'm going to get a D4, so no matter what, I will have 3, 6, and the Warbot is defeated. That was a crazy game. I've not had it where I've had such a massive crew, where I've explored so many locations. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I explored 9 locations. I had so many cards out on the table. I mean, my stack was down to 6 cards. You never know what you're going to deal out. You don't know how the enemies are going to come at you. So you just have to try it and play a bunch of different ways. And there's lots of different strategies you can take with whether you want to play the scum or the mercs as quickly as you can so they can't become monsters against you. If you have any questions, join our Discord. Do a search for the Grimm Place in Discord. It's a public Discord. We'll be happy to answer questions. Be sure to check out the Kickstarter launching on October the 8th. This was one of the decks, right? This was the Revenant's Raider deck. There are going to be 6 additional Raider factions. So in the Grimm universe, there are currently 7 Space Raider factions. So each deck is going to be slightly different, right? It is going to be where it's going to focus on that Raider crew. The characters are going to be different. The equipment's going to be different. The locations are going to be different, and the monsters are going to be different. They're all going to be thematically different. So you can pick whichever Raider crew you want to play. You can mix and match from them. We're going to have rules for the minimum number of cards, the maximum number of any one card, and the best ways to build decks if you want to do something other than one of the standard pre-built decks. Thank you all for watching. And I hope this was insightful on how to play Plunderlust in the solo mode. And I will see you all soon.